Hi everyone and welcome to Laura's Shelf. My name is Laura and today I'm going to be talking all about the one question that everyone wants to know about when you have a new baby is how do they sleep? I will be covering what we do, and that is bed sharing and also feeding to sleep. Now from these two you may have gathered that we are not big fans of sleep training or any formalized Western standards of sleep training, and we do follow the Possums approach to sleep. So if that sounds like something you might be interested in, continue. If you do want to just have a go at me for bed sharing, leave a comment below, go for it. I will be talking about some safe ways to do it though. So let's get started. So when we're looking at sleep, the way that we follow sleep is we follow the Possums approach. So that is all about starting your day at the same time, following the circadian rhythm, which is the natural biological rhythm, as well as sleep pressure. So it's making sure you're doing enough during the day to actually fall asleep. So you know those days that are really, really hard and you do so much during them, you're out and about, you're traveling, and you fall asleep really easily? That's all part of sleep pressure. So for a baby, that's just making sure that they have enough sensory activity. So making sure you're going out, you're getting along with your day. One of the times where before I actually knew what the Possums approach was, I was actually out with some colleagues and Soph managed just to fall asleep in the pram, just falling asleep. Don't know how that worked, but she just did it because she was around people, she was getting different environment, and she just fell asleep in the pram without me doing anything. So when we first started with Soph bringing her home, we weren't a big fan of being in that dark room that is so advocated for to build up the melatonin. Reason for that is I can't sit in a dark room with her because it gets a little anxiety building. So currently we are in a temporary home and literally I'm in front of the only window that's here, and even this place feels a little dark to us. So having lots of light is something that's really important for my mental health. So if I'm a happy mum and we've got a happy dad as well, then we also have a happy baby, and that really helps for us with our parenting. So our parenting style is very hands-on, which aligns very closely to how we sleep. So bed sharing can be quite a controversial topic, and I will explicitly say bed sharing instead of co-sleeping. Those two terms are used quite interchangeably. Co-sleeping can also just be where the baby is in this room, same room as the parents, whether that's in a bassinet or cot, and their own sleep place. There's also co-sleepers, which is like a crib or a cot or a bassinet attached to the side of the bed. I've tried to find one for a bigger baby like Soph, but we haven't actually been successful in finding one. So if anyone has any that's available in Australia, let us know because we're quite interested in that. But with bed sharing, it all started when Soph was about 2 months old-ish, maybe a little earlier, maybe a little later, where she was waking up at 4 a.m. every single day. The days that we then put her back in the cot, she would fall asleep pretty easily, but then she'd only do one sleep cycle, and at that stage it was only 40 minutes. So sometimes we were starting our day before 5 o'clock, and that wasn't sustainable enough for us, especially when you're getting up a couple of times during the night. So we started bringing her into bed, and she was sleeping to about 5:30, 6 o'clock. When the 4-month sleep progression happened, we then started bringing her into bed a lot more often because we'd wake up, we'd rock her, feed her, put her down in the cot, and literally within 30 seconds she'd be awake again and the system would start again. We found that when we actually brought her into bed with us and she was next to me, she would fall asleep pretty quickly. When we first started bed sharing, it was Soph on the edge of the bed on the floor because we were actually sleeping on the futon at that point when we started to bring her into bed more often. So we had her one side, I was in the middle, and Kieran on the other side of me. So then when we actually started traveling and we were in the tent, Soph then had to sleep in between us because it turns out she really liked zips and was playing with the zips. So she started being in the middle. She was also a lot older then, so because she was a lot older, we were both aware of us. So I have a naturally, so Kieran is a very light sleeper himself, and he's very aware of Sophia in the bed. So I have no concerns there with her being in the middle of us. We both instinctively gravitate to the edge of the bed when Sophie is in the middle of us. She also just likes to push out a little bit. So we're both comfortable with that there. At the moment we are still bed sharing probably most of the night, but what we have done is most of the time is the very first part of the morning, very first part of her sleep, is she actually is in her own space. Whether it's a cot, whether it's just the mattress on the floor like we've got at the moment, whether it was in her bassinet when we first brought her home, that part has always been pretty standard. That first part of sleep is always her best part of her sleep. So let's talk about naps. So naps is something where we've been very happy to feed to sleep. One of the best things I ever learnt was how to side lie feeding, because it also meant that I could get a rest. So it was around that 4-month mark where we were moving around a lot that I started to become a lot more exhausted. I was a bit more emotional. I was tired, and just having that rest really helped. So now I either take a nap with her, I lie down and read, or I just do something on my phone, and that's consistently, like at least once a day, that's what I do. I've already done it once today, and so that's been quite nice. So when we are actually feeding, when we're feeding to sleep, she's getting full, she's feeling sleepy, she knows she's safe, she knows she's content, and she falls asleep easily. So I'm very happy to keep doing that. It's actually a bit more of a pain when she doesn't want to do it, and recently she's started to not want to feed to sleep. That goes for some of her daytime naps where she ends up on the shoulder, and even at night. So this is a picture of what, if I do it right, yeah, so this is a picture of the other night when she just didn't want to actually fall asleep. And she just ended up asleep in our arms, and that was okay while we were watching TV. And that's part of the Possums approach, is they do advocate for babies doing things with the parents throughout the day as you need to do it. The other reason why feeding to sleep is boob is quicker. So boob has been the quickest way to get her to sleep no matter what. And I'm okay with her doing that. She does know how to link cycles. So at night time, she is getting about 3 hours sleep in parts. So naturally at this time, she's 6 months old, 6.5 months old now. So her sleep cycles are an hour and a half. So it doesn't mean that she can actually link cycles. And I have seen her do it. Just then when she wakes up, she just needs us, and that is completely okay. So eventually we will start putting her in her cot to sleep when we actually get into the new place, because it'll be easier for us, and that's what we want to do. I want to start doing a few more things during the day. So with that, we will actually be putting her, once she's asleep, putting her in her cot. If she wakes up, we'll be picking her back up and doing that, and then, starting that process again. So both Kieran and I are aligned with that version of doing it, so we both want to do it that way. One of the key things for us has been the entire time is we've both had the same or similar ideas for actually sleep and how we wanted to do it. So that is one of the key things for us. When we've actually started doing looking into some of the sleep stuff, will list some resources that I found really useful. These include Facebook groups, social media pages that I follow, and any of the books or websites that people that I actually really, of people that support the same way of thinking that I do. If you are looking into any of the sleep, find some professionals that support the same way as you. And, for some people, the way that we do things will not work for them. So for us, we're very happy to keep going the way that we're going. We started using the BRAIN acronym, so benefits. So we did actually start using the BRAIN acronym, so looking at the benefits, the risks, the alternatives, looking at your intuition, and what you would do if you did nothing. And that's been kind of the way that we've been looking at it. And we've also had a lot of discussions about this. Now, bearing in mind that when we first started having a baby, the one thing we were never going to do was bed share. And we've ended up doing, and that has been one of the nicest things I think we have done. If you are looking into bed sharing, make sure you do it safely. So looking at the Safe Sleep 7, that's done by the Leche League, and Red Nose Australia also has some advice on bed sharing if you are wanting to do it. Of course, they do say to not to. So do your research for either way that you're going to do it. Even look at, if you are looking at any sleep consultants, look into your own intuition. Does it feel right to you? One of the things that we started doing that didn't feel right was not looking Sophia in her eyes at night, and that just felt wrong to us. So we stopped doing that pretty quickly. So do look into your own intuition and how you feel as a family about any decisions that you make. So let me know anything that actually has worked for you. And so one of the things is we've actually been very flexible in our schedule, and we never know, this works for Sophia. So this works for Sophia, but we don't know what's going to work for the next one. So every baby is different, every family is different, every situation is different. Alright, so that's it from me and what we do for our sleep. Training, if you want to call it that. a flexible sleep approach. And we'll see you next time. And more than likely, Sophia might even make an appearance again instead of just in her vocal cords. Alright, thanks everyone. Bye.